Right, imagine this, it's 1959. The Cold War is on like Donkey Kong. We're talking about the Ural Mountains in Russia. A place so remote it'd make Siberia feel like a picnic in the park. It's bleak, it's brutal, and it's about to become the stage for a mystery that'd give Sherlock Holmes nightmares. See, 9 hikers, young and full of beans, decided to conquer this frozen wasteland. Little did they know, they were walking straight into a nightmare. The kind that makes your hair stand on end and your tea go cold. This wasn't just some stroll in the park. It was an expedition. They were students, you see, from the Ural Polytechnical Institute, led by a chap named Igor Dyatlov. He knew his onions, did Igor, or so they thought. They had skis, they had maps, they had enough Kendall mint cake to sink a battleship. They were prepared for everything, except it seems for what actually happened. Because weeks later, the only thing colder than the Russian winter were their bodies, found scattered across the mountainside like discarded toys. Yeah, this story doesn't exactly have a happy ending. Now, these hikers weren't exactly amateurs. They weren't messing about. This was serious stuff. They were experienced. They had the right gear, and they knew the mountains like the back of their hands. They set off in late January, full of excitement and probably a good amount of vodka, I'd wager. Their goal? Reach this peak called a Torten, which sounds like a brand of Russian washing powder, but trust me, it's about as far from clean as you can get. They documented their journey meticulously, taking pictures, writing diaries, you know, the usual touristy stuff. Everything seemed hunky-dory. Then things went radio silent. Literally, no more messages, no more postcards, no more nothing. Weeks turned into months. And the families of these adventurers started to sweat a bit, wouldn't you say? They knew something was wrong. And they were right, horribly, terribly right. It was like the mountain had swallowed them whole. The official search party, when they finally showed up, must have wished they'd stayed in bed that day. They stumbled upon the hiker's tent, but here's the kicker. It was ripped open from the inside, like they'd been attacked by a badger on steroids. Now, here's where it gets really weird. The hikers were scattered around the campsite, some partially dressed, some with strange injuries. It was a scene straight out of a horror film. Hypothermia, they reckoned at first. Makes sense, right? Except some of the injuries were just plain odd. Broken bones, internal damage, one poor sod even missing their tongue. It's enough to put you off your borscht, isn't it? And the weirdness doesn't stop there. Some of the hikers' clothes were found to be radioactive. Radioactive? What in the name of Lenin's tomb was going on? The authorities, of course, tried to sweep it under the rug. Just a spot of bad luck, they said. A bit of hypothermia. Nothing to see here. But everyone knew something wasn't right. It was like trying to fit a square peg in a round hole. It just didn't add up. The official investigation, if you can call it that, was about as useful as a chocolate teapot. Cause of death unknown. Right, cheers for that, lads. That clears things up nicely. But the whispers started, as they always do. Some said it was an avalanche, others an animal attack. But none of it quite fit. See, the injuries were too severe, the circumstances too bizarre. This wasn't just some tragic accident, something else was afoot. Theories, wilder than a Siberian tiger on heat, started popping up faster than mushrooms after a spring rain. Secret government experiments, alien abductions, yetis with a taste for human flesh. All right, maybe not that last one, but you get the idea. It became a breeding ground for conspiracy theorists, this Dyatlov Pass incident. And who can blame them? It's not every day you find a group of hikers ripped to shreds in the middle of nowhere, is it? Some say it was a military experiment gone wrong. Others reckon it was something far stranger. Could it be that the hikers stumbled upon something they shouldn't have seen? A secret base, perhaps, or something even more extraterrestrial? Let's face it, Russia's a big place. Plenty of room for strange things to be going on. The theories are endless, each more outlandish than the last. But the truth, well, that remains elusive, lost in the frozen wasteland, just like the hikers themselves. So there you have it, the Dyatlov Pass incident. A mystery wrapped in an enigma, smothered in a big dollop of fear. It's a story that captures the imagination, that sends shivers down your spine. It's a reminder that there are still things in this world that we just can't explain, and maybe, just maybe, that's what makes it so bloody terrifying. Over 60 years later, the mystery of Dyatlov Pass remains unsolved. The questions linger, unanswered. What really happened on that fateful night in the Urals? We may never know. If you enjoyed this video, consider liking and subscribing for more stories like this.